What's up guys, today we're going to take a look at how you can easily make this cool reflective water effect using Godot shaders. Let's go. So we'll start off with the scene I have here with a character who can run around. To add some water below him, we'll add a Sprite 2D node and select New Canvas Texture. Now we need to resize it and make sure the ordering property is set high enough that we can see it on top of everything else. Let's rename it to Water. Now we're ready to add some code. Click the icon above your scene tree to add a new script to the sprite and save it in your scripts folder. Inside our script, we'll add a function called zoomChanged that will update the Y zoom property on the shader we're about to create. Next, we'll update our process and ready functions so that they call the zoomChanged function when the sprite is first loaded and continually in the editor. Lastly, we'll add @tool to the top of the script to let Godot know that we want to use this script to run inside the editor. Now, back in our scene, we want to go to the Material tab for our water node and select New Shader Material. Click on the sphere and then next to the shader, select New Shader, making sure that Mode is set to Canvas Item so Godot knows this is a 2D shader. And save the new shader in your Shaders folder of your project. Click on the shader name to open up the shader code editor. Let's start by defining some variables. The cast color will give a color picker in the inspector we can use to tint our water different colors. A screen texture sampler 2D will give us the pixels on the screen behind our sprite that we can grab to display back as a reflection later. A fast noise sampler 2D will allow us to create a noise pattern we can use for the shape of the ripples in the water. Using repeat enable here will force our noise texture to tile infinitely. We'll define a vector 2 for the speed at which our waves move, and a float for the strength of our waves. Finally, we'll define two floats for our scale Y and Y zoom properties. If you recall, Y zoom gets set in the script we set up on the sprite earlier. To make our water move up and down, we can tell it to follow a sine wave using the vertex function. Sine waves move up and down over and over, so by following the path of the wave, we can get a nice smooth motion where our water will ebb and flow. Now, in our fragment function, we want to start by getting the position of our ripple noise. This will be moving constantly, so we want to multiply the UV by speed and by time to make it change position each frame. Next, we want to get the noise texture associated with the position we just defined in the UV variable above. We use lowercase uv instead of uppercase because we want to grab the pixel from the noise as it moves. Now we need to grab the height of our sprite. To do this, we divide the screen height by the normalized texture pixel size Y value. To get the position of the pixel we want to reflect, we need to get the current position on screen and change the Y value by subtracting the UV height we just calculated multiplied by the UV Y position and the scale and zoom properties. We can then use the reflected UV position and grab the appropriate pixel from the underlying screen texture. This variable is optional, but I wanted to include it here so you can understand how it could be used. What we actually want to do is add in our ripples by elaborating on it a bit. Just like for reflection, we'll grab the appropriate pixel, then displace it by using our noise values on the screen texture and multiplying by our zoom level and wave strength. Lastly, we need to output the color as our waves value plus cast color. This will combine the color tint we want to use and the displacement and reflections we've calculated into the waves variable. Now, save your shader code and head over to the inspector. Under Shader Parameters, next to Fast Noise, select New Noise Texture 2D. Click on New Noise Texture 2D to open up the noise settings. Here, we want to select Seamless. Then, next to Noise, choose New Fast Noise Light. You can play with these settings if you'd like, but I'm just going to keep the default. Now, go up top to the Scene menu and select Reload Save Scene. This will refresh the scene so that Godot can load in the tool script we made in the beginning, as well as the code changes we've made to the shader. At this point, you should see some movement inside your sprite, but things probably aren't looking quite right yet. Change the Scale Y property in the shader to something that works for the size of your sprite. For me, 2500 is a good value. If we play the scene, we'll see the characters reflected in the water below him in real time. We can also set the color in our shader to make the water look a little blue. We can even set it to green to make it look like a toxic wasteland. I find dark colors work best, and if you decide you don't want any colors at all, setting the color to black will make it totally reflective without altering any of the colors in your scene. If you change the size of your sprite, you may need to adjust the Y scale on the shader as well. Otherwise, you could get unexpected results. That's it for today, guys. I hope you found this video helpful, and thanks for watching.